Hey, everybody, this is Rapping Sports with Jax from the J to the A to the X to the X.com. Go over to the website, check it out. And the Devil season is over. Thank God. Another one of the disappointing years where they did not only make the playoffs, they were pretty much out of it early again. And I think that's the most disappointing part of the whole thing is I thought they had enough talent to at least maybe get down to the last week or two battling and scrapping. But it really came down to they were just too tough of a conference. I mean, they played the Caps 8 times, had a hard time playing them. They played the Islanders, had a hard time playing them. They played the Penguins 8 times, same thing. Even the Rangers, they didn't play well against. They played well early, and then they had to stretch against the Rangers, and that one makes no sense because they should have been more competitive with the Rangers. They obviously were okay with Buffalo. They did a good job with the Bruins. They actually won the season series, so for some reason, they have their number. Don't know why, but I wish they could bottle it and keep it. But anyway, so they were just too tough as a division. Next year, I think when they go back to the regular divisions, if everything goes smoothly, as we say, because Canada hasn't even opened their borders yet for next year, and that's not even that far away when you really think about it. It's about another 4 or 5 months. It's going to be a quick turnover, but we'll see what happens there. But there are some positive things. The defense was still awful. There was some hope because they started playing the ball kid, which I thought they should have played him earlier in the year and gave him more of a shot. But his last few games, he was pretty good. Nothing spectacular, flashy, but he seemed to move people around out of the net, made some checks, made some nice plays. Didn't look out of place in those last few games, so that's not that bad. Um, Otherwise, the defense needs to be totally reconstructed, and they need some size. They need definite toughness in there. I mean, you can have a tougher guy, say a Ty Smith, and then you can have, say, a Severson, and then a tougher guy. I don't see Subban being back. It's always possible. They shut him down for the year. I mean, even if you had to play him in his last year at $9 million, it'll be his last year next year, if I remember right. But he might get picked up by Seattle. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. And if they want to go younger, which that's the dilemma with the Devils, do you find some veterans to blend in because they've tried this and they have not made out too well with this part? I think the problem with it, like they have Johnson on the team, and he's done crap. And he's more of a veteran than anyone else. Granted, I think he's only 25, 26, but he's more, and he just did not have a good year. I was so shocked that he was so bad. And even when he had his great days, he would miss open nets and hit posts. And, some of it was a little luck. Like, I think you should have had way more points. He hit posts. I think Hughes, if you notice, a lot of his goals are scored in the upper part of the net when he picks the corners. And on his breakaways, he never shoots the puck up on the upper part of the net. And I think that's a problem. And I think if you look at the Devils, when they started shooting the puck to the upper corners of the net, they started scoring more goals. And that's mainly Zaka. The only one that seemed to score goals from anywhere is Wood. And is he going to be consistent? But now the Devils have a dilemma. Do they try to find the right combination of veterans to come in? Do they get, basically, if they go with the young kids, they can actually be younger next year with Holtz coming in, Mercer coming in. They got the guy from Russia, what's his name? Mala Madukin something, whatever. Big, and and he'll probably just get a tryout. I'm not even saying he'll make this. So it's just going to be a mess. And then what veterans out there would actually blend in to help them out? I have some players that I think would help, but don't even know if they're available at the time, and there could be matches for them. What you would like to do, if you can with the Devils, is find a player in between maybe 24, 27 that could blend right in. But the one positive in this thing is, does Jack Hughes finally have line mates with Sharagovich and Kuokkanen? Are they his permanent line mates? There was some chemistry with these guys. Sharagovich had a great year, except in the pass. He's one of the few guys that took the passes from Hughes and actually popped the pucks in the net. And Kuokkanen had a good year, but they'll both be battling for spots next year. But can that be a first line? And it's a young line, too, which would be nice, which means we would have that line for years. Heischer came later in the year, and I think that definitely hurt Heischer being out for that period of time because each time he played, the Devils seemed to play a little bit better, but he just was injured and he missed too much time. Devils had a decent start. I think they were like 6-3-1. Then they got the COVID, and then toward the end of the year they were 5-4-1. Not saying it's a great record, but it was over 500, and they were playing better. They were actually playing better teams too. So it's not like they weren't beating good teams. I mean, they beat the Islanders there. They beat the Bruins. As they said, they had success against them. So they're capable of beating some of the bigger teams. But what do we do with this team? I mean, a lot of young scorers, a lot of players like Baston and has shown up pretty good. McLeod actually had a good year. Zaka's finally starting to show signs of it. So what do? Do you hope for consistency with them? Is he going to be consistent? I have theories that I would like because the Devils have another batch of kids. Plus, they got 2 first-round draft picks again. So, and one of them is going to be high. I think now the way the standings ended up, I don't think they can pick any further than 6th, but I'm not positive on that. So, but whatever it is, they're going to get a high draft pick, and then they're going to get a late and probably a later round pick, depending on what the Islanders do. So they have another 2 draft picks. This draft isn't as deep as the last draft. Devils probably will be looking for defense. They'll be looking for Luke Hughes, which would make sense. And even if there are players better, then it makes sense to take Luke Hughes if you can get him. Because I know if Vancouver wins the lottery and pick for them, they'll take Luke Hughes because you got the other brother on his team. If you want to sign these guys to long-term contracts, what's a better way to do it than have the family all on the same team? So it's almost like they're forced to take them. I mean, there's Owen they have, and he's a college kid. He's a pretty good player. Obviously, it wouldn't be too shabby to end up with him. But the Devils clearly need defense because, in all honesty, I think they scored enough to win a lot of games. They pretty much scored enough. The goaltending was spotty, and Crawford totally screwed the Devils when he did what he did because we didn't have the proper backup goalies. There were some flashes from Wedgwood. Black was okay. I still think he's going to be good, but the COVID seemed to really get to him out of all the players. I'm not sure why, what happened. Maybe he was sicker. I guess it's something we'll never know, and hopefully it's something we put behind us. But I think they need a little bit more of a veteran backup, and they tried to get that last year. But that's part of them drafted the veterans. I mean, they had Simmons on the team. A couple of years before, he never lasted. Gusev now, he never lasted. So they seem to be doing okay picking the young guys. It's the veterans that come in that they're having problems with. Even I thought before Palmieri got traded, he was having a little bit of off year. Early in the year, I mean, he missed so many breakaways, if I'm remembering everything right. And Zajac, never was a scorer. He was the kind of guy that kills penalties, but they were last in penalty killing early part of the year. I don't know what they ended up. I haven't really checked statistics, and I'm kind of just got through watching the game, so I'm just getting over the emotion of the game. So even he wasn't as important. And now, man, it's just frustrating to watch. So what are they going to do? That's the key. Are they going to just go with the youth movement and go crazy next year? I know you do need some better veterans. I know Subban's going to be key to what they do next year because you can actually if you believe in Ty Smith, which I do, and then I like what I saw with Ball, so you got 2 combinations. Severson you can put with somebody, and then you got to make up your mind about Butcher. And what I always say about Butcher, if Butcher's not going to be on the power play, then get rid of him. And I don't mean just for free. Try to trade him or something like that. You know what I mean? But he should not be on the Devil team. But the Devils need more grit. Other than the first line that smacks people around a little bit, it seems like when they're on the boards and they're trying to clear the boards to the side or moving people in front of the net, they just look so much weaker than the other team. And a lot of it could be because of the youth, and they're starting to build their muscles. Like Hughes, what an improvement. And this guy, if he just gets the right line mates and maybe Kuokkanen and Sharagovich step up, Devils might have a nice young line for a long time. I'm hoping that's the case, that they don't find it. I kind of wanted them to play with Nolan in the beginning of the year, but Nolan got his feet wet a little bit, a few points. I do like the way he plays. He's a little bit more physical and doesn't get pushed around. Would like to see him play more and be more active because he could have been more active in most of these other games. But it's good to see all the young guys are going to be competing against each other. But my theory is, and some people probably won't like this, because they'll say, well, they finally starting to play well. But I think your best bet would be trade a guy like Zaka or maybe trade a guy like Wood while they have some value. A combination trade of two young kids for maybe a nice veteran somewhere and throw in a pick. You can get some nice players. You might be able to get some nice players. Somebody will take a chance with Zaka. He looks good. Or do you just want to keep him? Keep him with Heischer. Keep him with Bratt. So it's just like, it's going to be a fun off season to see what happens. It really, really is. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do. Now you got Seattle coming in, and they're going to be, how do you say it, pilfering a pick because the Devils would have had a higher pick. Now because this team decides to come in, they're probably going to pick. I guess they go on the lottery the same way, so you don't know where they're going to end up. So that's going to, instead of them, I think, being the third worst team, now they're going to, the team that didn't play, so they can be considered fourth. So anyway, disappointing year again, and I'm more disappointed that I didn't know if they were going to make the playoffs. And when the year started with the young, with them playing with the tough division that they were in, but it would have been nice that they got down to the last week and had a little excitement. And it was just like the last 2 weeks were just exhibition games. I mean, I still kind of watched them because the Islanders. And they played a few Flyer games in there. But I don't know. We'll have to see. And you have to look at the teams around you, too. Are the Flyers much better? So they'll compete with them. And they're going to probably go back to the old divisions, you would think. And if they go back to a normal schedule, which might be good for them, playing Washington. I mean, Washington crushed them every game. And that's because physically they just overpowered them. And I think that's the Devils' problem. They got to somehow get more physical players in there, someone preferably that can score, like I could say, like a DeBrus type person from the Bruins. I think he would be good with the Devils, age-wise. Not saying he's available, but a player like that, someone that's feisty and he can score goals, and he would get more ice time here in New Jersey, so we would prop it up. But we're going to see a lot, too, about the Devils, because as Hughes and Kuokkanen and Heischer, when the Palmieri and Zajac left, that left more power play time for these guys, more penalties. So definitely gave some players a lot more ice time, and I would like to see what they can do with it next year. But anyway, the season's over. It was really fast. I was just glad to see hockey be played at this point. We'll see how it goes for next year. We'll watch throughout the summer, see what they do. I'll pop in every once in a while and say a word about what's going on. But the Devil season's over. We do have a lot of young talent coming in. I'm excited to see what's going on, and we'll take it from there. Anyway, this is Rapping Sports with Jax for the J to the A to the X to the X.com. Go over to the website. And until next time, see ya.